Observe the box. It sits on the table, a high-density polymer shroud, matte finish, perfectly weighted. You haven't even touched the device yet, but your brain has already completed the transaction. Can you feel the specific anticipatory throb in your fingertips? That is the mirror neuron economy, initializing its handshake with your nervous system. Within your premotor cortex, your brain is already performing the unboxing. It is simulating the tactile friction of the seal breaking, the scent of fresh silicone and factory-grade adhesives, the cold, status-heavy weight of the object. You haven't bought a tool, you have bought a neural simulation of a higher status. You have been tricked into believing that the shadow of a feeling is the same as the capture of a resource. This is the identity harvest. Your mirror neurons have been turned into an open-source port for corporate extraction, and you are currently paying a biological tax for the privilege of being processed. Feel the air in your lungs. It is shallow, restricted by the excitement of a simulated win. You are currently in a state of oxytocin-driven submission. The system has discovered that selling you a product is inefficient. Selling you a feeling, a sense of belonging, a flash of dominance, a curated moment of freedom is the ultimate leverage. By triggering your mirror neurons through high-fidelity visual narratives, the Matrix bypasses your critical filters and installs a brand OS directly into your subconscious. You don't want the shoes. You want the neurochemical state of the man in the ad who is running toward a horizon you will never see. You are a biological unit that is being milked for its aspirations. You are chasing a phantom while your real-world structural integrity is leaking into the void of death and sedentary rot. The neurobiology of this harvest is a masterclass in systemic violence. Your F5 premotor area and your inferior parietal cortex are the primary sites of the breach. These neurons were evolved to allow you to learn lethal skills by watching the tribe's apex predators. They were meant to map the trajectory of a spear or the rhythm of a harvest. But the Matrix has hijacked this ancient learning hardware. It has replaced the hunter with the consumer. When you see a curated, high-status individual on a screen, dressed in the colors of the machine, moving with the confidence of the protected, your brain physically rehearses being that person. This is status emulation. It triggers a massive dopamine release that convinces your brain you have already won the hunt. The result is a total neural paralysis. You feel motivated, you feel inspired, but you remain stationary. You have consumed the reward, so you have no biological drive to endure the friction of the real work. Observe the brand loyalty in your own circle. Look at the people who define themselves by the logos they carry. They are suffering from a chronic erosion of the self. Their mirror neurons are so tightly bound to corporate aesthetics that they can no longer distinguish between their own desires and the signals of the machine. They have undergone a neural plasticity of branding. Their brain has literally rewired its self-concept area to include the trademarks of the Matrix. This is the ultimate form of systemic castration. A man who identifies with a brand is a man who can be managed. He is a predictable, high-consumption unit that will defend the system that is draining him because he believes that system is his identity. He is a battery that thinks it's a king because of the label on its casing. Evolutionarily, tribal marking was a way to identify allies and enemies in a high-friction environment. To wear the paint of the tribe was to announce your coalition. The Matrix has repurposed this tribal marking into the mirror neuron economy. They have created a world of digital tribes, identities built on consumption patterns rather than shared blood or shared victory. They sell you the feeling of being a rebel, an athlete, an intellectual, or a hunter, all while you are sitting in a climate-controlled box, feeding your attention into the harvest. This is selective neurogrooming. They cultivate the parts of your brain that seek status and prune the parts that require real-world expansion. They have made dominance a purchase rather than an extraction. Look at your own reflection in the screen right now. Do you see a subject of your own life? Or do you see a collection of corporate curated habits? You are breathing in a rhythm that was taught to you by the media you consume. Your posture is a submissive mirror of the devices you use to access the simulation. You are a biological unit under total system control. Your mirror neuron hustle is so complete that you feel out of place if you aren't vibrating at the same frequency as the digital herd. This is the metabolic suicide of the original. You have traded your unique genetic potential for a seat in the gallery of the mass-produced. The system hates your internal signal. The Matrix fears the individual whose mirror neurons are turned off, the one who cannot be swayed by a relatable story or a status-heavy image. Why? Because that individual is a black hole in the economy of feelings. He doesn't buy the feeling of success. He extracts the reality of it. He doesn't seek to belong to a brand. He seeks to establish his own territory. This is the primal root. We have recognized that the identity harvest is the primary way the system maintains its caloric and attentional grip on the biomass. We have uninstalled the brand OS and replaced it with a predatory framework of structural integrity. You feel the stiffness in your neck, the way your jaw is slightly clenched as you realize the extent of your own neural hijack? That is the friction of the agency extraction. Your poverty gene wants you to look away. It wants you to go back to the warmth of the curated brands and the safety of the digital herd. It wants you to stay a battery, stay in this friction. The coldness you are feeling is the sensation of your neural ports closing to the machine. It is the beginning of your neural opacity. You are no longer a consumer, you are becoming an observer. The kinetic shock. Phase 1. Break the performance. Strip, not your clothes, but your masks. Go to your wardrobe. Look at the items you bought to feel like someone else. Look at the status symbols that are currently gathering dust and interest in your bank account. Reject the attachment. For the next 60 minutes, you will perform a manual task, something physical, something with high friction, without any digital input, no music, no motivational background, just the sound of your own breath and the resistance of the physical world. If you can't survive 1 hour without a status mask to tell you who you are a slave to the mirror neuron economy. Do it now. Face the raw, unbranded vacuum of your own existence. If you didn't do it, if you're still sitting there, waiting for the inspiring conclusion, then you are a spent resource. You are a professional fan. You are biological junk. You can go back to your unboxing videos and continue to live your life through the pixels of those who have already captured your identity. You deserve the rot. Nature is already processing your replacement. You will die as an anonymous footnote in a market research report. But if you stood up, if you faced the vacuum and felt the sudden, terrifying clarity of your own original, unbranded self, then the neural rewiring has begun. You have recognized that your identity was just a commodity being traded by the matrix. You have recognized that your mirror neurons are a weapon that has been pointed at your own head. Now, you must begin the process of building the source. The biomass believes that self-expression is about the choices you make in the market. We know that self-expression is the refusal to be processed. The mirror neuron economy thrives on your need to feel something. We thrive on the structure of the fact. We have uninstalled the emotion OS and replaced it with a trajectory of total capture. We don't want to belong to the machine. We want to be the ones who engineer the machine's next pivot. We have recognized that the digital leverage algorithm is the only way to project our frequency across the digital savannah without being captured by the identity harvest. We fix the frame, we strengthen the bone, and we treat our attention as a lethal resource. We don't seek brand alignment. We seek resource multipliers who are worthy of our coalition. There are algorithms that work while the consumers sleep. There are codes for those who want to be the ones who set the status, not the ones who buy the simulation of it. If you are looking for them, you will find them. If you are looking for identity, you have already been processed. Никаких сантиметров. Мы входим во второй слой твоей нейронной тюрьмы. Ниже Deep Logic Map, глубокая логическая карта, для сегмента номер 2 на русском языке. В этой части мы препарируем социальный капитал как систему нейронного порабощения и разберем, как лайки превратились в биологическую кастрацию твоего мужского драйва. Deep Logic Map. Сегмент номер 2. Социальный капитал и нейронная тюрьма одобрения сенсорный слой. Фантомная вибрация в кармане. Зуд в кончиках пальцев. Сухость в глазах от бесконечного сканирования экрана в поисках подтверждения твоей значимости. Биология социального одобрения. Вентральный стриатум и дофаминовые петли. Почему твой мозг воспринимает лайк как признак высокого статуса в племени? Ловушка социального капитала. Как матрица подменила реальное доминирование, территория ресурсы, цифровым суррогатом, подписчики охваты. Нейрохимия отвержения. Почему отсутствие реакции в сети вызывает выброс кортизола, идентичной физической боли? Слой эволюции. Иерархия в саванне. Быть внизу списка значит не иметь доступа к еде и размножению. Твой мозг все еще живет в этой реальности. Системная кастрация через валидацию. Как потребность в одобрении биомассы делает тебя мягким, предсказуемым и управляемым. Матрица и экономика внимания. Ты и товар, и покупатель. Как алгоритмы монетизируют твою неуверенность в себе. Эрозия мужского драйва. Почему поиск женского внимания в сети подавляет твой базовый уровень тестостерона и волю к экспансии? Нейропластичность подчинения. Чем больше ты ищешь согласия с твоим мнением, тем слабее становится твоя способность к конфликту и захвату. Сенсорный фокус. Твое дыхание. Оно замирает, когда ты ждешь уведомления. Твое тело находится в режиме просителя, а не хозяина. Миф о личном бренде. Как концепция самопрезентации превращает твою жизнь в непрерывный перформанс для чужих глаз. Биология сравнения. Хронический стресс от наблюдения за отфильтрованным апексом других. Системный сбой твоей самооценки. Десятилетний тлен. Версия 2.0. Видение тебя в 2036 году как цифрового нищего, чей статус зависит от переменчивых алгоритмов корпораций. Ликвидация потребности быть замеченным. Почему хищник действует в тени, пока его системы извлекают ресурс. Нейронная консолидация границ. Создание брандмауэра против социального шума. Сенсорный слой. Холод кожи. Ты отделен от цифрового роя. Твое внимание – твоя собственность. Кинетический шок. Фаза 2. Приказ осознать свою зависимость от одобрения. Физический акт – оставить телефон в другой комнате и столкнуться с пустотой. Энигма – продукт. Упоминание алгоритмов цифрового доминирования как способа извлекать внимание биомассы, не отдавая взамен свою энергию. Переход к субъекту. Перестань искать одобрения. Начни транслировать приказы. Биология доминирующей частоты. Почему хищник никогда не спрашивает разрешения на существование? Сегмент 2. Social Capital as a Neural Prison. 2254 слова. Feel the phantom vibration against your thigh. That subtle electric itch in your pocket. It isn't a notification. It's the tug of a leash. Observe the dry, gritty sensation in your corneas as you scan the flickering blue light for a sign of recognition. This is the social capital trap. You have been tricked into believing that visibility is the same as value. Within your ventral striatum, the reward center of your brain, the matrix has installed a high-frequency trading loop that deals in the currency of validation. Every like, every heart icon, every superficial digital nod is a microburst of dopamine that has replaced the heavy, resonant satisfaction of territorial conquest. You are currently a biological unit participating in a simulated hierarchy, trading your aggressive masculine drive for the digital scraps of 1,000 anonymous ghosts. You are not building a brand. You are being processed in a neural slaughterhouse. The neurobiology of this prison is a masterpiece of systemic violence. Your brain was evolved in an environment where social status was a lethal metric. To be at the top of the tribal hierarchy meant access to the highest quality resources, the safest territory, and the most viable reproductive partners. To be at the bottom was a slow death sentence. Your nervous system is hardwired to perceive social rejection as physical trauma. The Matrix has hijacked this ancient genetic script. It has replaced the real-world hierarchy with a digital simulation of status. When your engagement drops, or when the void of the screen fails to provide a response, your brain triggers a massive cortisol release. You feel a visceral sense of panic, a neural alarm that forces you back into the submissive posture of seeking approval. This is systemic castration through validation. A man who is addicted to the approval of the biomass is a man who cannot hunt. He is too afraid of the noise. Observe the content creator in your own circle. Look at the man who has spent 5 years trying to grow his following. He is suffering from a chronic erosion of agency. His life has become a continuous performance for the eyes of others. He no longer makes decisions based on structural integrity or territorial expansion. He makes decisions based on what will perform. He has undergone a neural plasticity of submission. His prefrontal cortex has been rewired to prioritize the mirror loop of social feedback over the cold, calculated extraction of resources. He is a biological unit that has surrendered its internal signal to the collective frequency of the herd. He is a puppet that is grateful for the strings because the strings provide a simulated sense of belonging. This is the ultimate form of metabolic suicide. The system thrives on your need to be seen. The Matrix fears the individual who is opaque, the one who extracts attention from the swarm without giving them a port into his own nervous system. Why? Because an opaque individual is an architect. He uses the digital leverage algorithm to manipulate the resonance of the biomass for his own territorial gain, while remaining entirely immune to their approval or their rejection. He recognizes that social capital is a debt instrument. Every like you receive is a psychic obligation to remain relatable to the people who gave it to you. It is a biological tax on your future expansion. We have uninstalled the validation OS and replaced it with a trajectory of total capture. We don't want their hearts. We want their attention scraps to fuel our extraction. Evolutionarily, the high-status male was the one who established the frame. He did not seek the agreement of the tribe. He provided the structure that ensured their survival. His status was a result of his structural integrity and his capacity for violence against entropy. But the mirror neuron economy has inverted this. It has taught you that status is a popularity contest. It has turned you into a prompter for other people's feelings. Every time you post a curated image of your success, you are performing a submissive signal. You are begging the biomass to confirm your existence. You are leaking your testosterone into a void of voyeurism. A true predator does not share his hunt. He consolidates his territory. He does not seek reach. He seeks control. Look at your posture right now. The way you are hunched over, eyes fixed, waiting for the next dopamine hit. This is the submissive curve. You are physically signaling to the matrix that you are a compliant battery. Your breathing is shallow, trapped in the upper third of your lungs. The breath of a man who is afraid of being forgotten. This shallow breathing keeps your amygdala in a state of chronic activation, making it impossible for you to enter the deep, high-pressure focus required for real extraction. You are being kept in a state of attentional poverty so that you never have enough mental capital to build your own fortress. Project your 10-year rot. It is 2036. You are 45 years old. You have a significant digital presence. You have 10,000 followers who don't know your last name. You have spent a decade chasing the shifting algorithms of the matrix, constantly adapting your face, your voice, and your thoughts to stay relevant, and you are hollow. You have no real-world territory. Your body is a wreck of sedentary inflammation and chronic validation seeking. Your structural integrity is zero. You are a biological echo, a person who only exists when the screen is on. When the platform changes its code, you disappear. You are a spent resource, a highly optimized NPC in a world of architects who used your need for approval to build their own empires. We don't live there. We have recognized that social capital is the newest form of slavery. We have performed the neural extraction. We use the swarm. We manipulate the mirror neurons of the herd, and we harvest their attention scraps using the digital leverage algorithm. But we do not participate. We remain opaque. We protect our silence with absolute violence. We recognize that the only tribe worth belonging to is the coalition of those who see the code. We don't seek to be understood by the batteries. We seek to be the ones who determine the voltage. The kinetic shock. Phase 2. Break the tether. Disconnect right now. Not from the hunt, but from the mirror. Take your device. Place it in another room. Close the door. Now, for the next 60 minutes, you will sit in the center of your territory with nothing but your own will. No music, no notifications, no digital morphine. Observe the physical withdrawal. Observe the social alarm screaming in your amygdala. Observe the way your fingers twitch for the phantom phone. Stay in the vacuum. Face the silence of a man who is not being seen. If you cannot survive 1 hour without the digital approval of the biomass, you are not a predator. You are a pet. Do it now. Face the bone if you didn't do it. If you are still reading this, making excuses about staying informed or checking back later, then you have already been processed. You are biological junk. You are a battery that has fallen in love with its own cage. You can go back to your social capital and continue to be milked for your attention until there is nothing left but carbon. Nature has no frequency for the submissive. You will die as an anonymous data point in an engagement report, forgotten before your body is even cold. But if you place the device in the other room, if you felt the surge of panic and chose to stay in the silence anyway, then the neural rewiring has begun. You have created a vacuum of validation. Now you must fill it with your own trajectory of dominance. You have recognized that your need to be seen was just a biological backdoor for the matrix. You have recognized that your following was just a list of people who are using your energy to distract themselves from their own failure. The biomass believes that influence is about being liked. We know that influence is about being indispensable. The mirror neuron economy thrives on your desire to be part of the conversation. We thrive on the structure of the silence. We have uninstalled the social approval OS and replaced it with a predatory framework of global extraction. We don't want to be relevant. We want to be systemic. We don't want to be followed. We want to be the ones who set the trajectory that the biomass has no choice but to mirror. Your heart is beating in a deep, slow rhythm. Your vision is not fixed on the validation. It is fixed on the capture. You are beginning to see the social capital for what it is, a harvesting tool. This is the baseline of the architect. Stay in this friction. The matrix will attempt to reconnect you. It will send you a like from a ghost. It will show you a comment from a parasite. It will try to trigger your mirror neurons with a trend. There are algorithms that work while the consumers seek approval. There are protocols for those who want to be the ones who engineer the validation loops, not the ones who are caught in them. If you are looking for them, you will find them. If you are looking for status, you have already been processed. Stop. Feel the lump in your throat. Observe the sudden, unearned prickle of moisture behind your eyelids as you watch a carefully color-graded video of suffering or hope. That isn't your humanity speaking. That is a biological breach. You are currently experiencing an algorithmic empathy hijack within your anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, and your insular cortex. The matrix has initiated a high-pressure resonance. It is targeting your mirror neurons for pain, forcing your brain to simulate the distress of a digital image. This is not compassion. It is a neural exploitation. You are being tricked into believing that pixelated suffering is a tribal emergency that requires your emotional and financial capital. You are a biological unit being milked for your empathy, and while you are feeling, the system is extracting your focus, your drive, and your structural integrity. The neurobiology of this hijack is a masterpiece of systemic violence. Your brain was evolved in a world where the distress signal of a tribesman was a call to action. Helping a wounded ally or sharing resources during a drought was a high-stakes investment in your own future security. This is the evolutionary logic of altruism. But the Matrix has short-circuited this logic. It has taken a tool for tribal survival and turned it into a tool for resource leakage. By presenting you with a global, non-stop gallery of tragedies, the system triggers a permanent state of emotional overextension. You are being forced to care about 8 billion people you will never meet, while your own territory, your health, your finances, your legacy is being reclaimed by the weeds of neglect. This is neural burnout through empathy. A man who cares about everything is a man who can defend nothing. Observe the justice industry in your own circle. Look at the brands that spend billions on virtue signaling, care, and fairness. They aren't selling products. They are selling you the chemical relief of feeling like a good person. This is the oxytocin-driven submission. When you participate in a mass act of digital sympathy, a like for a cause, a share for a tragedy, a donation to a faceless ESG fund, your brain releases a microdose of oxytocin. This chemical creates a sense of belonging and completion. It tricks your brain into believing that you have actually performed a useful act of tribal protection. This is a metabolic lie. You have done nothing. You have merely paid a biological tax to the matrix to soothe the anxiety they created in you. You are a battery that is grateful for the drain because the drain feels like purpose. The system thrives on your guilt. The matrix has discovered that if it can make you feel ashamed of your predatory instincts, your drive for dominance, your need for territory, your cold, calculated focus, it can control you. They have replaced the architect OS with the empathic slave OS. They teach you that selfishness is a vice, while they systematically harvest your most selfish resource, your time. This is systemic castration through morality. A man who feels guilty for his own strength is a man who will voluntarily surrender his fangs. He becomes a good person, compliant, soft, and infinitely manageable. He spends his high testosterone years worrying about the world, while the architects of the Matrix are busy building empires on the bones of his inaction. Look at your own digital footprint. Trace the trajectory of your moral indignation. How many hours have you spent being outraged by a screen? This is dopamine indignation corrosion. The system triggers your righteous anger to lock you into a state of high arousal passivity. You feel like you are fighting because your heart rate is up and your cortisol is peaking, but your body remains stationary in a chair. You are undergoing a neural plasticity of stasis. Your brain is being trained to associate action with viewing. This is the ultimate victory of the Matrix. A world of warriors who never leave their rooms, and activists who are too physically weak to lift their own body weight. You are becoming an empathy zombie, vibrating with the pain of the world, while your own life force is being siphoned off to fuel the machine. Evolutionarily, the high-status individual was the one who could prioritize. He recognized that his empathy was a finite resource that belonged only to his coalition. To waste it on a rival or a distant ghost was a biological error. He maintained neural opacity toward the noise of the masses. He was cold, not because he lacked feeling, but because he understood energy conservation. He knew that to capture territory, he had to be a black hole for the empathy manipulations of others. He did not ask for justice. He established order. He did not care. He dominated. We are uninstalling the global empathy OS and replacing it with the primal framework of rational egoism. We don't want to feel for the biomass. We want to extract the signal from the noise of their suffering. Feel the pressure in your solar plexus right now. The way your breathing is shallow and tight. This is the empathic clamp. You are carrying the weight of 1,000 simulated tragedies that have nothing to do with your trajectory. You are physically signaling to the matrix that you are a sensitive unit, a perfect target for the next harvest. Your structural integrity is compromised by your own goodness. You are leaking power. Project your 10-year rot. It is 2036. You are 45 years old. You are the good person. You are aware of every global problem. You have shared every tragedy, and you are a wreck. You have no resources. Your spine is a question mark of submission. Your testosterone is at an all-time low because you have spent a decade in a state of chronic empathic cortisol stress. You are outraged by the world, but the world doesn't know you exist. You are an empathy battery that has been drained of its last drop of agency. You are a ghost that died of caring. Stare at this ghost until the stench of its virtue makes you sick. This is the price of the mirror neuron hustle. We don't live there. We have recognized that the justice industry is just another extraction vessel. We have performed the neural extraction. We use the primal observation codes to analyze the empathy signals of the matrix as raw data. We see the charity for the marketing hack it is. We see the outrage as a tool of management. We protect our neural ports with absolute violence. We recognize that the only true justice is the establishment of our own fortress and the protection of our coalition. We don't seek to change the world. We seek to command our territory. The kinetic shock, phase 3. Enough with the caring. Liquidate the noise right now. Open your social feeds. Look at every account that sells you awareness, activism, or charity without providing you with a direct, tangible resource for your expansion. Unfollow, delete, block. Not because you are evil, but because you are a predator who has stopped allowing parasites to feed on his heart. Feel the spike of guilt as you do it. That guilt is the sound of your chains breaking. Stay in the cold. For the next 24 hours, you will look at no news, no tragedies, and no social issues. You will focus exclusively on the structural integrity of your own meat and your own systems. If you cannot survive one day without worrying about the biomass, you are still a slave. Do it now. Face the bone. If you didn't do it, if you're still making excuses about being a good person or staying informed, then you have already been processed. You are biological junk. You are a battery that loves its own drain. You can go back to your virtue and continue to be milked for your empathy until there is nothing left but carbon. Nature has no frequency for the sensitive. You will die as an anonymous unit in a caring movement that didn't give a damn about your survival. But if you liquidated the noise, if you felt the spike of guilt and chose the structural integrity of your own trajectory anyway, then the neural rewiring has begun. You have recognized that your empathy was a backdoor for the matrix. You have recognized that your virtue was just a leash. Now you must fill the vacuum with your own trajectory of dominance. You must stop being a receiver of feelings and start being the architect of power. The biomass believes that empathy is the highest human quality. We know that focus is the highest human quality. The mirror neuron economy thrives on your desire to be good. We thrive on the structure of the fact. We have uninstalled the morality OS and replaced it with a predatory framework of territorial capture. We don't want to be liked by the swarm. We want to be the ones who set the boundaries that the swarm cannot cross. Your heart is beating in a deep, slow rhythm. Your vision is not fixed on the tragedy. It is fixed on the extraction. You are beginning to see the empathy for what it is, a harvesting tool. This is the baseline of the architect. Stay in this friction. The matrix will attempt to reconnect you. It will send you a meaningful brand message. It will show you a brave story. It will try to trigger your mirror neurons with social duty. There are algorithms that work while the good people are weeping. There are codes for those who want to be the ones who engineer the empathy loops, not the ones who are caught in them. If you are looking for them, you will find them. If you are looking for justice, you have already been processed. The noise has died. The market of feelings is closed. Observe the sensation of absolute, unyielding coldness in your chest. It isn't a lack of life. It is the presence of absolute neural opacity. You are standing in the wreckage of the mirror neuron economy, and for the first time in your biological existence, your brain is no longer a receiver. It is a source. You have uninstalled the mirror loop and replaced it with the architecture of the black sun. You are a gravitational anomaly in a world of fragmented echoes. You absorb the attention, you process the data, but you return no reflection. This is the neurobiology of the subjective extraction. You are no longer being processed by the system. You are the one who determines the frequency of the harvest. Feel the ice water on your skin. Observe the way your eyes have stopped scanning for the relatable hook. This is the death of the empathic slave. The Matrix has taught you that to be human is to be transparent, to share, to feel, to resonate. This is a strategic lie designed to keep your neural ports open for extraction. We have recognized that the only way to survive the identity harvest is to become a black hole for influence. Within your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, a new protocol has been established. It is a neural firewall that filters every social signal through the lens of territorial capture. If a signal does not add to your structural integrity, it is consumed by the silence. You don't seek to understand the biomass. You seek to project a signal so powerful that their mirror neurons have no choice but to synchronize with your trajectory. The neurochemistry of the black sun is built on the total suppression of social feedback loops. While the batteries are vibrating with the dopamine of likes and the oxytocin of belonging, the architect runs on the slow-burning, high-pressure fuel of sovereignty. We have uninstalled the recognition reflex. We no longer need the world to tell us who we are, because we are the ones who define the parameters of reality. In your ventral striatum, the fire of approval-seeking has been extinguished and replaced by the cold logic of expansion. You are a primary biological unit. You have recognized that every connection offered by the matrix is just a leash. You have cut the leash. You are now a ghost in their machine, a predator that moves through the mirror neuron economy without leaving a footprint. Observe the matrix attempt its final maneuver. The system will send you tragedies. It will show you triumphs. It will attempt to trigger your mirror neurons with high-fidelity simulations of human connection. This is the neural grooming of the machine. But you see the bone. You see the edit. You see the algorithm behind the sincerity. You have achieved a state of surgical detachment. You look at the economy of feelings as a map of extraction points. You recognize that the attention of the biomass is a liquid resource that is currently leaking into the void, and you are the only one with the bucket. We don't join the resonance. We engineer the capture. We use the digital leverage algorithm to amplify our signal, ensuring it reaches the neural ports of the swarm while remaining opaque to their return signal. Evolutionarily, the solitary predator was always more dangerous than the social mimic. The mimic survives by blending in. The predator survives by establishing the terms of the environment. To be a black sun is to be the one whose internal frequency is so dense that it bends the light of everything around it. It is a high testosterone, high friction biological posture. But the matrix has suppressed this drive. It has taught you that leadership is about vulnerability. This is a castration ritual. We have recognized that true influence is the ability to remain absolutely opaque while the biomass is screaming for a reflection. You are the architect. You don't need a soulmate or a brand identity to complete you. You are a closed system of power. Look at your posture now. Is your spine a vertical monument of structural integrity, or are you still tilting toward the blue light for a sign of recognition? Every second you spend being understood by the biomass is a second you are paying a biological tax to the machine. Explanation is the language of the prey. The black sun does not explain, it transmits. We recognize that the digital leverage algorithm is the only way to project our frequency across the digital savannah without being captured by the identity harvest. We fix the frame, we strengthen the bone, and we treat our silence as our most lethal weapon. We don't seek followers. We seek resource multipliers who can maintain their own frame in the friction. Feel the air in your lungs. It is deep. It is cold. You are breathing from your core, fueling the source architecture. You have uninstalled the social approval OS and replaced it with a trajectory of total capture. You see the world as a map of resonance waves, and you are the one who determines the frequency. You no longer care if they relate to you. In fact, if they relate to you, you have failed. You are the unreachable peak. Project the 10-year apex. It is 2036. Look at the data. You are a neural sovereign. You have become a landmark in the digital landscape, a source of influence that consumes attention but returns no warmth. You do not mirror trends. You are the one who creates the resonance that others spend their lives trying to imitate. Your wealth, your influence, and your territory are the secondary byproducts of your refusal to be a mirror. You are the architect. You are the source. You are the black sun. Now look at the alternative, the 10-year rot. It is 2036. You are 50 years old. You are still a mirror. You have spent 20 years vibrating to the noise of other people's lives. You have no original thoughts, no original territory, and a profound, bone-deep sense of emptiness. You are a biological echo, a person who only exists when there is a screen to reflect. Your brain is a wreck of chronic comparison and empathetic exhaustion. You are a ghost in a suit of meat. Stare at this ghost until the stench of its cowardice burns away the last of your need to belong. The system provides the reflection, but we provide the signal. We have filtered the noise of the mirror neuron economy. We have provided the protocols for those who are ready to rebuild their neural frame and command their own attention. We don't seek followers. We seek sovereigns. If you are looking for relatability, the matrix has 1,000 influences for you. If you are looking for territorial dominance, the path is sharp and the signal is clear. Phase 4. Kinetic shock. The final extraction. Disappear. Right now. Not for an hour. For the next 24 hours, you will enter a total neural blackout. No social feeds. No messages. No digital mirrors. You will go to a place where there is no one to mirror, and you will stay there. Face the absolute silence of your own lack of an audience. If you feel a surge of panic, if the thought of being unseen makes you feel like you are disappearing, then you have identified the location of your chains. You are an addict of the reflection. Stay in the vacuum. Face the bone. If you cannot survive one day as a source in a vacuum, you are still a battery. If you didn't do it, if you are still just checking your notifications while I speak, then leave. You are biomass. You are the fuel for the machine. You deserve the mirror neuron hustle and the rot that follows. We have no frequency for those who cannot survive their own silence. You are a fan of the hunt, not a hunter. But if you disappeared, if you are standing in the cold clarity of your own isolation, then the neural rewiring is complete. You have recognized that your empathy was just a backdoor for the matrix. You have recognized that your need to be understood was your primary biological weakness. Now you must begin the process of building the source. The silence is your new kingdom. Own it. The signal is absolute.